Who left the doll holding the victim's ID? It was 2:17 a.m. when Officer Dale Harper arrived at the scene, a quiet suburban street in Ashmore, Maine. The air was still, the moonlight cutting through the mist. In the middle of the front lawn of 26 Millbrook Drive sat a child's porcelain doll, dressed in a tattered pink dress with one glass eye cracked. But what chilled everyone was what the doll held: a driver's license belonging to a woman found murdered just hours earlier. No footprints, no witnesses, no reason for that doll to even exist. Tonight, we're diving deep into the eerie and unsolved case that became known as the doll murder. In this story, you'll learn how a string of haunting clues, children's toys, nursery rhymes, and old crimes connected one of the most disturbing cases the FBI had seen in decades. And by the end, you'll be left asking, was this the work of a human or something that learned to mimic one? The victim, Elena Morris, 29, was a pediatric nurse and local volunteer known for her warm, gentle personality. She was last seen leaving her night shift at St. Mary's Hospital around midnight. Her car was found abandoned 2 miles from her home, keys still in the ignition. Hours later, her body was discovered in a wooded area behind her home. No signs of sexual assault, but signs of struggle. What baffled police was a single message scrawled on her wrist in permanent ink. Playtime's over. Detectives were already unnerved when the doll appeared the next morning, seated perfectly upright on her lawn, holding Elena's ID between its porcelain fingers. Forensics found no fingerprints, no fibers, no evidence of how it got there. But on the underside of the doll's dress, written in faded ink, was a name: M. Cartwright, 1965. Detective Harper's investigation led to a chilling revelation. There was a case involving that name nearly 60 years earlier. In 1965, a little girl named Mary Cartwright disappeared from a foster home 3 towns over. Her room was found empty, except for a doll in the same dress, sitting on her pillow. The foster mother claimed that before Mary vanished, she'd been talking to her doll like it was alive. When asked what she talked about, the mother said Mary once whispered, "She tells me where the bad people go." That case was never solved. The doll vanished with her. Until now. 2 weeks later, another crime shocked the quiet town. A school teacher, Jonah Franks, was found dead in his classroom. Cause of death: blunt force trauma. Near his hand lay a doll, smaller, newer, but with a slip of paper in its lap. On it was written, "He took what wasn't his. She told me to stop him." Police were baffled. There were no signs of forced entry, no usable DNA, and no clear motive. But both victims had volunteered at the same local children's center, the Willowbrook Home. Old records showed that Mary Cartwright, the girl from 1965, had once stayed there before being fostered out. Was someone trying to avenge her? Or was this some twisted homage to her story? Investigators began to suspect that the killer was recreating scenes from past disappearances, using dolls as messages or signatures. A break came when a retired FBI profiler named Agnes Holbrook was called in. She had seen something similar before, in 1989, a case known as the Dollmaker murders. In that case, an unidentified killer left handcrafted dolls at the homes of his victims, each designed to resemble them. The last doll, however, was different. It was found with a small tag reading number 9. There were 8 victims confirmed. The 9th was never found. When Elena's autopsy came back, she had faint traces of an old anesthetic, one used decades ago in psychiatric hospitals. Tracing the lot number, investigators found it came from the Willowbrook Home, which had since been closed and condemned. Detectives entered the old facility, and what they found was chilling. Inside, the walls of the basement were lined with old, dismembered doll parts, half-painted faces, unfinished glass eyes, And on a workbench, a fresh doll, identical to Elena Morris. In its tiny hands, another ID, that of Detective Dale Harper. Security footage from nearby traffic cameras revealed something even more disturbing. At 3:12 a.m., a figure in a long coat carrying a doll-shaped bundle walked toward Elena's home. But as the light flickered, the figure appeared child-sized, despite the long coat. When police enhanced the footage, they noticed the glint of porcelain in the figure's hand. Was it another doll holding the first one? Before investigators could confirm, the Willowbrook home burned down mysteriously. Every remaining doll destroyed. The case was declared unsolved. But 2 months later, Detective Harper received an unmarked package. Inside was a new doll, uncracked, perfectly made, wearing a badge identical to his own. And on its arm, scrawled in tiny red ink, "Tag, you're it." To this day, no one knows who made the dolls, who sent them, or what truly happened at Willowbrook. Was it a copycat obsessed with unsolved crimes? A survivor seeking revenge? Or did something from the past finally come back to play? What do you think? Who left the doll holding the victim's ID?